Hi, this is Dave Wilkins, Wolverine Business Solutions. Are you ready for Windows 11? Why do you care? Well, Windows 11 is coming, whether you like it or not. And it's actually here, but Microsoft has announced some changes. And to help understand these changes, I've invited James Golden, who is the founder and president of Golden Consulting, a managed IT service provider who can provide a lot more detail and explanation on it than I certainly can. So, welcome, James.
Thank you, David. Nice to be
Great.
here.
So, for those who may not know, help real quick. What does a managed IT service provider do?
We focus on maintaining your IT information, your IT systems, your information technology, with the focus on not only securing your systems but also maintaining, being proactive and how we manage, not just being called in when something breaks, but trying to align your technology to your business needs.
Okay, good, good. So, you know, Microsoft over the years, they've obviously been around a long, long time. I can remember DOS. Uh, so, they've had a lot of operating systems, a lot of versions of Windows that have sunset over the years, which essentially is the nice term for saying that they're stopping support and that is basically orphaned. But there's been obviously a lot of them. But why is the sunsetting of Windows 10, which is scheduled for next year, uh, such a big deal?
Well, first problem is that there's still millions of devices running Windows 10. Um, Windows 10's had a great run. It was a great operating system. Um, but with Microsoft sunsetting and making it end of life, it means that they'll no longer be supporting it, as you mentioned. But there's an inherent security risk in that. That means no further security development will happen for the Windows 10 platform. Um, so a lot of times we see each month there's like critical patches for maybe this new vulnerability, or one could have been a vulnerability that was been floating around for the last 6 months, and we're finally seeing a patch for it. But come next October, um, even for those vulnerabilities as they're discovered, Microsoft's not going to put the effort into developing a fix for it, which then is an inherent risk for all customers, businesses still running that platform, because um, that leaves them vulnerable to you know once vulnerabilities are found and discovered,
Hmm.
then the bad guys can usually get to, those who don't know about it, can get to work and start trying to figure out how to take it to, use it to their advantage, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a huge risk that a lot of businesses, if they don't migrate to Windows 11, will be left exposed.
What's interesting about it, just thinking through and listening to what you're saying, is as a CPA, a fractional CFO, we work with a lot of clients and we access their systems and all that. So, would that, even though we're we've already migrated to Windows 11, but if we've got clients that are still running Windows 10 and don't migrate before the sunsetting, uh, that potentially could expose us as well, couldn't it?
Well, that's going to depend on how you're connecting to those clients. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a lot of CPAs are doing VPN, especially for those, say, running like desktop applications like QuickBooks or Sage, and CPAs often VPN into, what this VPN is a virtual private tunnel. It's a fairly secure way um, of accessing, but it creates a tunnel, and so if their network is infected, that tunnel is two-way communication. So it could have potentially affect the CPA's devices as well.
Yeah, because I mean that's essentially I've got one client where I do that now. VPN in and run reports and so forth, and download those reports back to my system, so I can do analysis offline. So, okay,
Yeah, yeah. When you open up VPN tunnel, it's basically putting your device on their network. Now, obviously, if the machine's not infected, it's fine. But like I said, the risk is that if there's vulnerabilities and that machine does get infected, is on the network, gets attacked, breached, or infected, whatever the case may be, and then you connect to it across that VPN. You're opening yourself up to risk as well.
Okay. So basically, if as a business, if I don't update uh, or migrate to Windows 11, then I'm not only exposing myself, but potentially anybody who I've granted access to my system. I could be exposing them as well. And I'm sure there's probably some liability issues there.
Oh, absolutely. And I get in just a broader, bigger picture. I mean, we think about some like in the past we've had like the Home Depot breaches, and we're going back a few years, but Home Depot, I think Target, I think even Equifax,
Yep.
were all breaches started by a third party vendor that had access into their networks. That was the one that was breached. So
Yeah, yeah. And of course, two of those are pretty close to home, being here in Atlanta. Equifax and Home Depot. So, what are the benefits of migrating to Windows 11?
one, obviously increased security is
Right.
the biggest one. Windows 11 is getting, it's all the serious development happening on it now. New features are being added um, almost daily, at least not weekly. Um, it is more secure. It's more efficient than Windows 10. There's definitely some couple of learning curves because Microsoft likes to change user interface around a bit. Yeah, overall, it's the way of business moving forward.
Yeah, I've seen from a transition, it was very, very minimal in terms of the learning curve or the look and feel was pretty close. I think you're right. There's some really nice functionality that's added. And of course, I think part of that's the AI components that they've been able to incorporate into it as well. Definitely a lot of benefits,
Yeah,
more so than the sticking with Windows 10.
yeah. Well, and yeah, so a lot of stuff like that, even some of the AI stuff in Windows 10 is kind of after after a bolt on after the fact.
Yeah, yes,
Whereas
not
a
as
lot
much.
of, lot of that stuff is being integrated right into the platform itself.
Right, right. It's interesting. Thinking back on it now, I can over the last few months, we got a home laptop that we use occasionally, and I don't recall the frequency of the updates has definitely declined. Used to be seeing them pretty regularly, but not anymore. Don't remember the last one we did actually.
Yeah, hopefully, I mean, you should still have it set to automatic updates, but
Oh, they're set to automatic, but a lot of times it's one of those that says there's an update ready to go. When do you plan to restart? Restart now or restart later. So some of those, but not anymore. One of the things I've seen though is that there seems to be a lot of promotions for these so-called reconditioned machines that are Windows 11 compliant. What is that?
yeah, well, yeah, reconditioned, refurbished. Beware. Another IT service provider I know friends with, she actually went through and from Amazon alone found that 1 in 3 devices running Windows 11, they were selling with Windows 11 machines, aren't truly capable of running Windows 11. There's hacks that you can do to force Windows 11 on a machine that it's not made for it. And so, unfortunately, some of these unscrupulous vendors are doing just that. They're pushing Windows 11 on machines, and suspecting customers are buying them, um, and they're going to find down the road that the machine can't update. So they're going to be just as vulnerable because they won't have any security updates for any new issues coming out. Yeah, so I'm trying to warn businesses, just be careful what you're buying. Make sure you get something in writing that it is Windows 11 compatible. I still think buying new is always going to be your best bet. If it's a machine that's more than, I'd say, 4 or 5 years old, definitely look the other way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was just thinking the same thing because typically, if you've got a machine running 10, it's probably a number of years old anyhow, and it may be time to upgrade just for the sake of upgrading
Right.
for that benefit.
And,
Um,
and if I could add there, just because I don't want to scare everybody, but just also everybody knows it too, that a lot of Windows 10 machines, if like I said, if it's newer than 3 or 4 years, you could probably do an in-place upgrade to Windows 11.
well, yeah, isn't there a check? As I recall, there's a check you can run, a little routine you can run on your machine to see if it's Windows 11 compliant.
Yes, there is. Yeah, Microsoft has. I think if you do a search for Windows 11 readiness, or
Something like that. Yeah.
give you a little update for it. Most machines, though, if they are compatible for it by now, probably would have, if they check their Windows updates, it'll probably tell you, hey, you can upgrade to Windows 11 now.
Yeah, because I think when I bought one of my desktops, it was a few years ago, but it had already been provisioned for the 11. It had all the features, functions it needed, so not a problem. It was actually pretty easy to migrate up. Good. Um, Now, there are going to be some scenarios. In fact, I've got a client that has a scenario where they're basically, it's a server and they're running just some desktop apps on it. Well, one of our favorite between you and I, QuickBooks Desktop, for
I know
example.
right where you're going.
That's pretty much all they run on it. And the question they have is, what are some alternatives that to having to spend five, eight, $10,000 on a new server when all we've got are these desktop apps that are running on them?
Well, several different options. It's going to vary by situation. I mean, if you've got an application that's only running for historical purposes, okay, well then just make sure those devices are offline. Make sure they're not connected to the rest of your network or the internet. Um, in the case of, like, say, QuickBooks Desktop, if somebody doesn't, well, first option would be, in that case, would say, okay, well, can you move to an online version like QuickBooks Online? Unfortunately, sometimes not in all cases can you do that. So in that case, there's other options. You could have it hosted somewhere, like Right Networks is one of the popular ones for hosting QuickBooks Desktop Online, or virtualizing the application. You can kind of keep it separate that way. You don't have to buy new hardware, so definitely lower cost. It's going to vary by the situation. In again, general measure, if it's running on an old operating system, then you want to try to keep that as separated from network as you can if you can't completely get away from it.
Right. Now, from a timing perspective, is there a real advantage of waiting or moving now, or what's some good recommendations there?
The end date is October 14th of next year. I'm trying to encourage businesses to not wait, until that last month or two, or wait to the summertime. It's only my assumption or suspicion, but I suspect that as businesses start to really come January, they're going to start really making the push to move. I think we're going to find supply inventory certainly much harder to come by, which is going to also increase pricing. Ideally, what you want to do is say, if you're a small business and say you've got 7 machines that need to be that can't be upgraded and you need to replace, well then plan out seven machines over the next 11. Do a couple machines each quarter,
Yeah.
or every couple months, and that way you can spread your cost out instead of trying to do it all at one time.
Plus, if you've got any unspent budget left for this year that you don't plan on, you didn't have something on this could be a good opportunity to take advantage of that, the budget that's available.
Right, and of course this is your realm, but yeah, it's like section, was it 179? Deductions and stuff. Yeah, definitely a good time to do it before the end of the year.
Yeah, great. Well, this has been very, very helpful, James. And so, if somebody is interested in getting hold of you to talk more about it, what's the best way to reach them? We'll also put it in the comments section.
Well, they can go to my website, goldenconsulting.net. They can also email me at solutions@goldenconsulting.net. And that way they can get in touch with me pretty easily that way.
Super. Well, thanks a lot, James. And looking forward to a good migration to Windows 11 for everybody.
Absolutely.
Great.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.